What's up, YouTube? I'm Robert, and you're watching the B1KER Bar Podcast. Have you guys been with the same sponsors for quite some time, or they change up?
We just started working with Niner this year, but a lot of our other sponsors have been around for years. Like we've been with Pearl Izumi and Shimano for
a number of years.
4 or 5 years.
We've been with for like.
You've worked with
I worked with Expedo for like 10
Yeah.
years almost at this point. So
when you guys first got into racing, how did you go about like getting sponsorships?
I'll leave that one to Maggie.
I mean, to be honest, it's especially now, racing is not that valuable. Like, to be totally blunt, like what you have to do is you have to figure out how to tell people about the products you're using and why you like them. And it used to be the only way that you were going to get products in front of people was if you were racing and doing well, so that newspapers or magazines talked about you. And that just isn't true anymore. I mean, you know, if you have a camera, you can start a YouTube channel. If you have a phone, you can start an Instagram. Like there are plenty of other ways, and we love racing, and a lot of our connections, industry connections and that kind of stuff are through racing, or like because we are racers. But that's not, you know, our sponsors aren't like, oh, make sure you're racing. Like this year, not having races, our sponsors are like, you know, okay, keep doing your thing. Like we're not that worried. And I think it's got to be really hard for some of our peers who are only racers, because there's no place. Like,
so you're saying your sponsorship is they're sponsoring you guys as racers and content creators and social media, whether it's your Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is. So you're kind of getting a sponsorship with the entire package, not just, hey, I'm a racer.
And I think that's true across the board at this point. Like even the people who are racers, unless they are winning World Cups, they're doing something else and doing it fairly well. Because if you're just racing, unless
they're
you're
not actually getting that much. There's
that's
sort of
really
like
the truth in the bike
a
industry.
little, I think a lot of people that you might think are extremely sponsored are only getting product.
Yeah.
And maybe their expenses covered
maybe.
for races, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I think that there's an interesting thing in the bike industry where like the industry kind of benefits from people pretending that they get more than they do.
Yeah.
And that you sort of see that with like the teams that have this like coolness factor. So people are willing to be on the such and such factory team and not make any
we know for a
money
fact
at
that
all.
They're not getting paid. They're just getting access to bikes for the year. Like they don't
we're
even
not
get
gonna-
their bikes. So
we're not going to drop any names there, but and so if you can provide value and you can show click-throughs to a website, you can show purchases and you can show views and all of this, like all of a sudden it's a very different ball game.
So I think whenever you guys got into YouTube, then you were able to really carry that over into like kind of your, because you guys basically have like a pitch that you're giving to a company when you're reaching out to them, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys have like a brochure or something like that? That's like, hey, this is Sid and this is what. Or is it like kind of a little less formal? Or
honestly,
it depends on the company. We actually have a brand manager that we work with who coordinates all of our YouTube deals. So like any sort of sponsored video we do on YouTube, we kind of let him negotiate. Like we might pick the company. We're like, hey, we really like this product. Like, will you reach out to them?
Or will sometimes even reach out.
Yeah, but and then we're like, okay, we're stepping back and letting you guys like hash out the details. And then for a lot of our bike industry sponsors, we've just had really long-lasting relationships, so we do all of those negotiations ourselves. I also think the bike industry isn't really ready for brand managers.
Yeah, they're not totally up to speed on it. I mean, you'll know, at least from my perspective, like where I've been, like I'll talk to some companies, they totally get YouTube and what the value is, and you talk to other ones and they're like, whatever.
Yeah,
maybe it's just because I'm 43 and fat, you know. They're like, yeah, what if I was like doing Everesting attempts, they'd be like, all right.
it really, though, it's like it has to do with being able to provide value. And like that's what we've told, like we have lots of kids be like, I want to get sponsored, what should I do? And it's like, you just have to provide value. Like you don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to win things. You have to provide value, because there's this idea of like, if I race a bike or if I, whatever, I should get stuff for free. And it's like, why should a company give you anything for free? Like the idea isn't getting free stuff. It's giving value in exchange for product or money or whatever. Like it's a two-way street. And once people understand that, then they, you approach these interactions differently. You say, hey, here's what I can provide to you. Are you interested in working together? As opposed to like, give me free stuff. We all want free stuff. That would be cool.
And I think that's one of those things that you learn along the way too. I mean, just I can speak to it just from the YouTube perspective. Whenever you first start, probably because you've seen other people like, oh, I got this free thing, so you're just like, oh, that's how it goes. You get like X number of subscribers, and then you just get free stuff all day.
And then everything's free. You never pay for anything again.
And it like doesn't really work that way. If you like that, make sure you check out the full episode. And hey, do me a favor, before you take off, hit the like and subscribe.